Matt again with friends. So I've been thinking about something, and I wanted to ask you guys all about it. See what you thought, and if there's let's see if there's anybody else who agrees with me on this. So I don't like historical films, and just films based off of a lot of historical events because one I just find a lot of historical movies boring, but also there's that to me it feels a little messed up to for films to try and create entertainment out of real life tragedies that have happened and awful things that have happened in history. Like, for that reason, I haven't had any interest in watching Oppenheimer yet because that to me feels like this didn't need to be a movie. We don't. I don't want to. I don't care to watch a film that, from what I've heard, makes you feel sympathetic to this man who created the atomic bomb. Like that just feels a little bit like films that are based off of awful events kind of feel to me like they're trivializing it. I rather alternate history films. I think it's so much more interesting, and if a filmmaker makes up some kind of history and makes a film based on that, and I find that so much more interesting, so much more creative, and so fun to watch whenever things give an alternate history, and both that just simply as films being set in the past but having things that did not actually happen in our timeline. I'm also films set in present day where there just happens to be a different history before. I think that's so much more interesting than um and than any films that are about real life history, and so much more creative, and it fixes the problem of having this possible trivializing in real life awful events. Um, I just wanted to see if is there anyone else who feels the same way about this as me. What do you think? I think of my thoughts on this and so the reason why I was thinking about this is because I was talking to someone about. Now I have not seen in the Civil War film that just came out in theaters yet, but I was talking to someone about how there is a alliance between Texas and California in it, and I was saying I think it would be, what would be the most interesting way to do it to me is make that it is there's just an alternate history within the world of the film, and stuff, and that way you don't even need to you don't even need to like figure out a way within the real life politics for why they would be willing to work together. Or you can just have that there are different histories, so politics are different within this world, so they just are fine with working together, and by extension, I think with having alternate histories is what really interesting me with films set in present day. And I would love if something like this were the case with Civil War. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not, but since from what I heard, there is no actual like alternate history within that film. But within creating a new politics for the actual film, with having an alternate history, I like the idea of films where the politics is not actually anything like what the politics are in real life. So that when you're watching the film, you're able to decide for yourself of who do I stand with, and you actually get to think about that yourself, and not just uh, because it's things out of politics from real life, so you making you already know what side you're landing on within the scenario. I think that's so interesting and cool. I know you guys probably getting tired of me using Marvel as examples on here, but Captain America: Civil War and the Civil War comics, instead of just having some kind of real life politics in it, they went for this issue of the Sokovia Accords, or the Superhero Registration Act, and making you get to decide: do you believe whether that superheroes should be on their own vigilantes, or should the government control them, or in the case of the comics, should they be able to keep their identity a secret or not? That's so much more interesting to me than films just using real life politics, because with them taking real life politics aside, and creating their own politics for the film, because of the alternate histories that exist within these worlds, you then, as you're watching the film, get to decide how you feel about it. You don't have a decided place on the problem presented in the film. Yeah, that's really all I had to say for this video. But to summarize, I'm not a fan of historical films, and I find alternate history films so much more interesting, and political arguments and with fake politics based on alternate histories is so much more interesting than a director just placing real life politics in it in a way where you get to decide what side you're on. And this is nothing against these war film that just came out. I'm very excited to watch it. I have not seen it yet, but I'm very excited to watch it. And I bet I'll be fine with whatever is actually in the film of the choice that they made. All right, that's all I wanted to say. Hey, I know I've said that multiple times now, but yeah. As always, free Palestine, and this again is your host, Smash Roy John, signing off.